محمدا وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقاعدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توها وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين بالحجة إلهي العاف بالحجة إلهي العاف بالحجة إلهي العاف بالحجة إلهي العاف. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وظل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك العصام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبت وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن توزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متضلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لقبائحي ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك. ظلمت نفسي ظلمت نفسي ظلمت وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترت وكم من فادح من البلاء أقلت وكم من عثار وقيت وكم من مكروه دفعت وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرت. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي وقصرت بي بي أعمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفعي بعد آمالي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومطالي يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك وخالفت بعد أوامرك فلك الحجة علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا نتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وثاقي يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي هبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي، أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك، وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك، ولهج به لساني من ذكرك، واعتقده ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك. هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تضيع من ربيت، أو تبعد من أدنيت، أو تشرد من آويت، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمت. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا، وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا، وبشكرك مادحا، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققا، وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعا، وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعا، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنا. ما هكذا الظن بك، ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم. يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها، وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكر قليل مكثو، يسير بقاء قصير مدته. فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه، ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي فكيف بي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الضليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولما منها أدج وأبكي، لأليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته؟ فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك، وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك، وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي، صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك، أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك. فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا، لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآملين، ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين،
يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين، أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته، وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته، وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك، ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك، ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك يا مولاي. فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك؟ أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه؟ أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه؟ أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها؟ هيهات، ما ذلك الظن بك، ولا المعروف من فضلك، ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحديك، وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك، لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما. لكنك تقدست أسماؤك، أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين. وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا، وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما. أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها، وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته، وكل ذنب أذنبته، وكل قبيح أسررته، وكل جهل عملته، كتمته أو أعلنته، أخفيته أو أظهرته، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني، وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم، والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيته، وبفضلك سترته، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلته، أو إحسان فضلته، أو بر نشرته، أو رزق بسطته، أو ذنب تغفره، أو خطأ تستره. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة، وبخدمتك موصولة، وأعمالي عندك مقبولة، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي، يا من عليه معولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قو على خدمتك جوارحي، واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في البارزين، وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرد، ومن كادني فكد، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك. وجد لي بجودك، واعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقلني عثرتي، واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة. فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني مناي، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي. يا سريع الرضا، يا سريع الرضا، يا سريع الرضا، اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء. يا من اسمه دواء، وذكره شفاء، وطاعته غنى، ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء، وسلاحه البكاء. يا سابغ النعم، يا دافع النقام، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بي ما أنت أهله. وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Inshallah, we will be waiting. Sayyid Abbas should be here in a few minutes. So feel free to converse, feel free to hang out, talk to your friends, all that. And inshallah, Sayyid Abbas should be here in a few minutes and we'll start as soon as he gets here. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Thank you all for joining us tonight for another one of our Thursday night programs. Alhamdulillah. If you haven't seen on our Instagram, and I believe also in our email, we have announced our Arba'een program. We will have the program Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night. And I don't remember the dates off my head, but it is the weekend of the 19th, inshallah. So keep that on your calendars and make sure to join us those nights. We will be joined by Sheikh Vahid Charouse, inshallah. Navid, sorry, I think I know his brother, so I get them mixed up. Sorry, Sheikh Navid Charouse. So make sure to please join us for that, inshallah. Tonight we have Sayyid Abbas with us once again. Alhamdulillah, tonight he said his topic will be rethinking Ziarat or reevaluating Ziarat. So inshallah, if we can welcome him with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. صلى الله عليك يا سيدي ومولاي يا أبا عبد الله. When a person does wudu, ablution, and prepares themselves for salat, as the Quran says to do mas, to wipe. Which areas do we wipe in wudu? The top part and the feet. When they says 1/4 of the part of the head, what does that mean? It means the part where most men, well not most, but some men are bald and are balding. This area right here. Or I put a hat on so you cannot see. So in that area you wipe. How much? How much do you have to wipe the head? How long? How long? A centimeter, an inch, a meter, or say yard? It's musamma. Musamma means whatever orf or people say you have wiped. Even if it's this much, I just wipe. They consider me wiping. Whatever. How about the length? Oh, yes, that was the length. How about the width? Oh no, the length is any much. You don't have to go all the way down. Any bit from here. Even if it's this much, it's fine. How about how long? That's musamma as well. Doesn't have to be, I'm talking about the wajib. It doesn't have to be 3 fingers or 1 finger. At least 1 finger, but just however much your finger is wide, is fine. The feet the same way. The feet, but the length in wiping the feet is a condition. How long do you wipe the feet? There is an area of the foot that it comes out. I don't know what area they call that. It probably has a scientific name. But do you see on your foot? It's an area that it comes out, a little bump. Is that sufficient, or do I have to go all the way to the joint? Ihtiyatan for followers of my intelligence. It's not all the way to the joint. So the length is from the from the toe to the joint. And wide is however wide it wants to be. But the length is important from the top until the joint, the mafsal. From where? that bump, you ihtiyatan pass the bump. Pass it. As a matter of obligatory precaution, it just says Dani says pass that bump. I don't know, I never found out what's the word for that. Nobody knows. The bump. That's it. Now, if this is obviously not for the brothers, inshallah, and nobody is using nail polish, but obviously the sisters cannot use nail polish for wudu, it blocks, but for the feet, a sister can use nail polish, obviously for her husband or for herself, mahram, not seeing, and can make one of her toes, doesn't paint that toe, that nail. Say the smallest toenail, they don't use nail polish on it. So when they wipe, they could just wipe from this part of the foot to the end. Because the width doesn't matter, the length matters. And with that, they can get 4 toes, and they could use nail polish, but 1 toe they can leave it alone. Again, this is for the sisters, inshallah. Please recite Salat ala Muhammad, wa ali Muhammad, wa ajil farajah. Again, if you have any questions, I like to sit here for a little bit. If you have your questions, fiqh, aqaid, beliefs, akhlaq, anything, inshallah, I will answer. If you want consultation, private time, online you can reserve. There's that time available. Yes. Very good question. Question is, when you do wudu, are you asking about wiping? You're probably asking about wiping. Very good. Yeah. Do you have to be completely dry when you do wudu? Did I say this for you, or did you learn that from me, or no? Okay. Okay. So obviously the areas where you wash, even if it's wet, it's fine because you're washing so much that water gets gone, right? Obviously, those are okay. But what is more precise are areas where we wipe because there's only a little bit moisture in my hand. So yes, in general, those areas have to be dry. But what if it's a little bit of moisture? This is for the ruling of Ayatul Istisqa. I didn't find it for others. If it's so insignificant that, for example, I'm doing wudu, a few drops come or a few drops of water happen here, and it overcomes the other water. That water is so insignificant, it's like a few drops, and when I wipe, I give it a nice, wipe, and that water overcomes, that's okay for Ayatul Sistani. And usually it does overcome. If you do wudu with a lot of water, usually it does over. You don't have to say, oh, I sweated, I'm sweating now, what, I have to wipe my head. Or you see some people, they're always like this in the restrooms, they're always like this, cleaning they're wiping their feet. If you clean, it's fine. But if there's a little bit of water, insignificant amount, and it overcomes, then that's fine, inshallah. So washing, usually washing it overcomes, and also wiping it overcomes. As long as they look at you and say, that new water, they can see it. They overcome the other one. Please recite Salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajah. How to rethink Ziarat. This is the topic tonight. Unfortunately, many of us, or many people, they have not understood what visitation of the Imams is, how important it is. Some people even go as far to say that Ziarat and visitation is just, an economic advantage. And they look at it as tourism. They say, look this year, mashallah, how many tourists we had. They don't say how many visitors of the Holy Imam they have, how many tourists they had, how much money did they spend in our country, how much money came into the city. Is this correct to look at the visitors of the Holy Imams as sources of income and money? Unfortunately, that's not the case. Some people, they do take advantage. You go to their city, their taxi driver, it's supposed to be $5, they charge you $10, for example. Some cities are known for it, actually, they say, as a joke. But that is not the appropriate thing, to look at the zawar to look at the visitors as a source of income. First of all, we should say this. Is visitation and ziyarat exclusive to Shias? Tune the tone of the voice, if you can. Sorry, is it okay? Sorry. Thank you. Let's recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajabaj. Tweak it a little bit. Tweak it a little bit. Is ziyarat something only for Shias? Has anybody here seen pictures of Baqi? And how does it look like before the demolition of Baqi? It's a white dome, right? That is actual architecture from the Turks. That's from the Ottomans, Uthmanis. They rebuilt, because after there's two demolitions. After the first demolition, they rebuilt the shrines of the Imams, because it's Imam Hassan. They're Uthmani, they're Sunni, they're Hanafi, yes, but they love Imam Hassan. And they love Ali ibn Hussein. And they respect Imam Baqir, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq. So they rebuilt a shrine, and actually has a shrine for them. Because in their madhab, it's allowed to visit the graves. A lot of times we think that this ziyarat is only for us Shias. But that's what the Wahhabis want us to think. Wahhabis, they have an issue with it. But the rest of the Muslim world, they do not have any issue with it. They come to Medina, all Muslims, they come to Medina to do ziyarat of the Holy Prophet. Because they understand if they don't do ziyarat of him, their hajj will not count, their hajj will be problematic. So all Muslims, they come and do ziyarat of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And you know, the Wahhabis didn't want to just demolish the shrines of Imams or everyone. They even wanted to demolish the shrine of the Holy Prophet. They wanted to demolish his shrine. But then countries said that we will be at war with you if you do this. People rose up against them, Sunnis rose up. So ziyarat is for everyone, except our Wahhabi cousins. And we have in the Quran, very clearly, I want you to remember this verse. Shall they go to Ziyarat, they go to Medina. And Tawbah 84 in the Quran, a verse about Ziyarat in the Quran, tells the Prophet of Islam, وَلَا تُصَلِّ عَلَىٰ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ مَاتَ أَبَدًا. Do not never offer prayer for any one of them who dies. This verse in the Surah Tawbah is about the munafiqun. You'll see it's actually part of the verse. The hypocrites, do not ever pray for them. Ever pray for them. So I want you to think about it, because we have two things when you interpret text. One is the mantuq, one is the mafhum. Mantuq is what's explicitly there, and we're going to say the explicit meaning. The other one is what is implied, but the common understanding of people is they understand this implication. It's not directly there, it's indirectly said. وَلَا تَقُومْ عَلَى قَبْرِهِ. And do not stand by his grave. إِنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. This is about the hypocrites. وَمَاتُوا وَهُمْ فَاسِقُونَ. Surely they disbelieve in God and his apostle, and they shall die in transgression. So about these hypocrites, two things. Never offer prayer. Two, do not stand by his grave. So when I say this, do not offer prayers there and do not stand by their grave to the hypocrites, what is the indirect implication? Then if someone is not a hypocrite, then stand praying for them, and standing by their grave is okay. That's what logic says, right? That's called mafhum. So the mantuq is hypocrites, do not stand by their graves. And the indirect implication is this: non-hypocrites, you can't stand by their graves. Very clearly in the Quran. So therefore we have verses in the Quran that imply. Ayatollah Ja'far Subhani has this, if you want to look at more detail, his book of Wahhabism. This is his actual reasoning, Ayatollah Subhani. That therefore when you're already excluding a group and you're giving a ruling on it, therefore, if it doesn't have that condition, that ruling doesn't apply anymore for them. Because if visiting the grave was haram, Allah will say in the Quran, never visit anyone's grave. Because people do that. But He didn't say don't visit anyone's grave. He just said don't stand by the grave of the hypocrite and do not pray for them. These two together. So the logical person says, okay, if someone's not a hypocrite, you can pray next to them, you can pray for them, and you can stand by their grave. And ila ma'ashallah, I think about 9 hadith, at least he brings from Sunni sources about Ziarat in his book Wahhabism. So we're not going to get into that. But let's rethink the way we look at Ziyarat. Another way that people view Ziyarat or visitation is they think the common person thinks they're just going to get their things and come back. They're just going to go and get their needs. Yes, we all have needs. And the best place to go is to visit the Prophet of Islam and the successors and to just ask and come back. Is this an appropriate way to think of visitation? That you're just asking and you're coming back, and that's it. This implies this, that if you get what you wanted, then you'll never come back. Because I'm just coming there to get things. That's it. Let me tell you a story. Allama Amini. You've heard of him? Sahib of the book Al-Qadir. Allama Amini. He spent his life collecting hadith to defend the walayat of Imam Ali alayhi salam. He spent his life writing a book that relived the Shia's got life again after Allama Amini al-Qadir, the way he defended the hadith of Qadir. He would go to India sometimes, other places of the world. They would ask him, how was the weather there? How was it there? He says, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to the weather. Like today was very hot for us. I'll tell you, how was the weather today? You say, oh, it's hot, I work, I don't know, my AC turned off in the car, I was boiling. He would go to a another country, he wouldn't even notice because he was so busy collecting hadith to defend Imam Ali. He loved Imam Ali, truly loved him. When they asked and said, is it true that Imam Ali prayed 1,000 units of prayer? People would say, this is not possible to pray 1,000 of units in prayer in a say, 24-hour time period. He did it and proved everyone wrong. He proved people said, I can do it, and I'm not Ali ibn Abi Talib. He went and did 1,000 units just to show that it's possible. This is how much he loved Imam Ali. Now imagine you have an allama. Allama means someone that knows different sciences. An alim is a scholar. Allama means he has a lot of knowledge, and usually someone that has knowledge of different sciences. He's coming to the shrine of Imam Ali, asking for something, and he's not getting it. He knows how to ask. He read all the hadith, you can say. He knows, and he's most deserving. He's serving Imam Ali. He's going to a shrine, and he's not in Najaf, and he's not getting what he wants. A Bedouin Arab comes, they say, and he has a kid that's paralyzed. He doesn't even read the Ibn al-Dukhul, for example, how to enter, permission to enter. He doesn't read that. He doesn't do any of the mannerisms and adab. And he says, Ya Abul Ghawth, to Ali ibn Abi Talib, the father of one who answers, help me, help my kid, he's paralyzed. That kid, they said, was like flesh on the ground. Flesh on the ground. And they say, as if his spirit comes inside, and the kid starts walking miraculously. Starts walking miraculously. People began, and it is said that they went and took articles from the kid's clothing for tabarruk and blessings. So Allama Amini became upset. He says, look, telling himself as if why did I study so much so many years? They would study with a lantern, the smoke would come in your face. I didn't need to study my entire life, read all these books, go to different places. I should have just been like this person, this Bedouin, and I would have got it, what I wanted. So it's told to him, and I'm paraphrasing, that Imam Ali alayhi salam in his dream came to him and addressed him like a father, addressing him and telling him that you are close to us, you are of us. That person that we grant his du'as, we grant his needs, if we don't give it to him, their faith will be in jeopardy. His faith will be in jeopardy. But you are of us. You're of us, and therefore, God loves, you could say, God loves to hear you cry. We like to see you in our shrines. We like to see you in this state, that you're getting closer to Allah, because you're one of us. But him, his faith would have been in jeopardy. So the way we look at ziyarat isn't just when you come and you visit the imams for things, even though this is good. Yes, we have needs, but this isn't the purpose. Every act of worship, of course, we don't worship the imams. Every act of worship is taqarrub ila Allah, the purpose, to get close to Allah. In just how your salat is mi'rajul mu'min, your salat takes someone to God, is mi'raj, it's an ascension. The hadith mentions that ziyarat is someone that as if visits God in arsh, in his throne. Someone gets mi'raj and gets elevated until he visits God. That's ziyarat. So there is a mystical journey, spiritual journey happening inside ziyarat that we don't even know. You're visiting God at his throne. Why? It is passing through walayat. The destination is God. But this destination is happening through the imams. When you look at one of the interesting hadith from Ali ibn Musa Rida, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa jafar. We see that we had a promise to God, we had a promise to the prophets and imams, that we would be loyal, that we would serve them, that God is our Lord, and we say Bala, right, in that realm. We don't remember it, it might be distant from us. Maybe if we keep thinking about it in a spiritual way, we can remember that covenant. But we have a covenant with God, and when you have a covenant with God, obviously you would have a covenant with his prophets and his successors, because they are the path. So in this tradition, and we're talking about the way you rethink ziyarat, in this tradition from Ali ibn Musa Rida, in which book? Al-Kafi. The narrator says, سمعت الرضا عليه السلام يقول إن لكل إمام أحدا في عنق أوليائه وشيعته. Every imam has an ahd already on the neck of his Shia, of his followers. All of us right now already have a covenant. How can there be a covenant? This is something you must have accepted where? In the other world. In the other world. So we already have a covenant with them. We said Bala to God as our Lord. وَإِنَّ مِن تَمَامِ الْوَفَاءِ بِالْعَهْدِ وَحُسْنِ الْأَدَاءِ. But the completion and to loyalty, the loyalty to this promise, to this covenant, and its beautiful or good fulfillment, زِيَارَةَ قَبُورِهِمْ, is in the visitations of the imams. So the wafa bil ahd, loyalty to our ahd, and husnul ada, and for good fulfillment of that promise we had, happens in the shrine of Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam. That is why when you come to the visit Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you say, Labbaika ya Hussein. People say, I'm here, Imam Hussein. Because it's a renewal of that allegiance, that renewal of loyalty, that I've come here, Imam Hussein. I've come to your shrine. I have left, say, my work, my life in this world. I'm suffering hardship. There's heat. It's hard for me. But I'm here. And that's a manifestation of loyalty. A manifestation. Look at ziyarat, rethinking, visitation as a manifestation of loyalty to Ahlul Bayt. 2, looking at ziyarat as a spiritual journey that takes us to Arshullah. There's a beautiful hadith. Actually, we were speaking with some of the scholars and just mentioning, the reward of different imams and their ziyarat. And this ziyarat is one of those ziyarats. I'll read the end. It tells you one of the imams in this hadith, the ziyarat is very emphasized. This is from Sulaiman al-Mazini. He's speaking with Imam Kadhim alayhi salam. And Imam Kadhim alayhi salam in this hadith, again in Al-Kafi, he mentions about visiting his son Ali alayhi salam. And obviously Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida passed away after, was martyred after his father. So his father is already speaking about the reward of his visitation before he passed away, before his martyrdom. And he mentions that to him, من زار قبر ولدي علي كان له عند الله كسبعين حج مبرورة. Whoever goes to Mashhad, visit Ali ibn Musa Rida, it's 70 good mabrur, good hajj. And sometimes I've said this hadith in other places. Sometimes you say these traditions, the person's like, wait, what? 70 hajj? Obviously, it's not saying that a person goes, that they don't have to do hajj anymore. No, it's not talking. It's talking about reward. Someone that has to go to hajj, yes, each person has to, that it can, has to go to hajj. It's wajib. But the reward of visiting him is 70. And this person has a question. And some people here have a question. How can you equate one ziyarat of Ali ibn Musa Rida to somebody that spends, that God gives them life, long enough life to go to 70 hajj every year in one hand, and then the visitation of Imam Rida in one hand. And he keeps saying, more hadith, more. Then he says to him, قال رب حجة لا تقبل. And he actually says, you know what? Many people even go to Hajj in the narration, and their ziyarat is, and their Hajj is even accepted. But this is 70 Hajj Mabrura. And then it has this part. من زاره وبات عنده ليلة كان كمن زار الله في عرشه. Whoever stays one night in Mashhad, whoever stays one night visiting Ali ibn Musa Rida and does ziyarat of him, this is, again, brothers, sisters, this is talking about someone that does this, the kamal, the perfect ziyarat, the accepted ziyarat, not just a so-and-so ziyarat, the ziyarat that doesn't really count. A ziyarat that reaches its full potential, he's as if he visits God in his arsh. So it's showing us this narration, that the purpose of ziyarat is to visit God in his arsh. I'm going to ask you this question. I want you to think about it yourselves. When was the closest you ever thought you were to God? When was the closest you ever thought you were close to God? In salat? In what place? And where? Is, for example, salat in a home the same, or doing ziyarat at a masjid? Did you feel that, brothers, sisters? Did you feel that salat or that ziyarat or visitation? And obviously the Quran says, praying. We said praying and being next to their graves. Praying and doing salat next to the grave of Imam Hussein. Doing ziyarat of Imam Hussein or the Imams. Did you feel different than other places? If you tried in your home as much as you could to have that spiritual feeling, how hard would it be for you? You can. The Imams are timeless and boundless. But that spiritual journey that you have in this shrine is uncomparable anywhere else. It just happens automatically. Even if you're tired, you ate, or you didn't eat, you're tired or not, it just happens. Because the Imam is grabbing your hand. The Imam, the Prophet of Islam, his successors are grabbing your hand. And they were the perfect human beings. They became the closest to God. And they are taking you with them to that journey. So the destination is God, but it's happening through walayah. They are grabbing your hands. That's why our urafa, those are mystics, they say that, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Qadi Tabatabai, he was wanting a new life, a connected life to God, a life that where he really knows God in detail, in that relationship, irfan, that mysticism. And he was in the shrine of Hazrat Abbas, and he comes out, and it's told to him that go back to that same shrine. Whoever we gave him something was in this shrine, the shrine of Hazrat Abbas. So you have a spectacular, unparalleled opportunity in those shrines. And I think I don't need to talk about this. You already experienced it. Why do I need to talk about something you've experienced? So it's the ziyarat is one of the best places to reach God. And that's how we need to think different of it. And then the hadith continues about visiting different imams. فَيَغْعُدُ مَعَنَا مَنْ زَارَ قُبُورَ أَئِمَّةٍ. And they will be with us, they will sit with us. Whoever visits the imams. Whoever visits the imams, they'll be with us. إِلَّا أَنَّ أَعْلَاهُمْ دَرَجَةً وَأَقْرَبَهُمْ حَبْوَةً زُوَّارَ قَبْرِ وَلَدِ عَلِي عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. But the best of them, from all the zawar, the best of them is whoever visits my son Ali. The best of the zawar of the imams. Visiting Ali ibn Musa Rida. Interesting thing, I heard this when we were studying Maqasid from my teacher. One of my teachers of Maqasid is a book where you understand the demonstrations of Sheikh Murtada Ansari. And he said that once a person passed away, our teacher, a person passed away, and they had two options. The person made this wasiyat, this will. Either go to Umrah, and when you go to Umrah, you visit, other places. Obviously, you visit the Baqi and other places. Go to Umrah, or go to Mashhad and visit Ali ibn Musa Rida. He says, whichever one has more reward, do that for me after I die. Go to Umrah or go to Mashhad. And usually the fuqaha, the jurists, even though they have the most amount of, authority over the narrations, usually they don't express their opinion about, reward and stuff like this. But here he has to. I told them Mirza Jawad, during his lifetime, they said that he was a'lam. Some would say he's the most knowledgeable during his lifetime. Some say that. Especially because of the way he had his command over narrations. So which one did he choose? To send that person to send someone for him to Umrah, or to send them to Mashhad? And Umrah, knowing that obviously for that same person, they'll do visit other infallibles there. He says, take him to Mashhad. Take him to Mashhad. The way that the reward in visiting Ali ibn Musa Rida, it's amazing. As I said, the narrator says 70,000. The Imam says, and he's asking, he's wondering. So that's the second part we said. Ziyarat is a renewal of allegiance for us. The ziyarat for us is a spiritual journey that you visit God. But what about us that we're far away? Right now we see during this time period, Arba'een millions of people are going. Inshallah, I don't know if here anyone's going or not, but our hearts are there. Can you do ziyarat of the imams and reach that from afar? Yes. What is important is being under walayat. Bina urif Allah, bina ubid Allah. Through us, God is worshipped. Through us, Ahlul Bayt, God is known. What is important is being under walayat. So to answer this, yes, you can do ziyarat. Is timeless. Ziyarat is boundless. One of the imams says, I believe to Sadir Sayrafi, why don't you visit Imam Hussein every day? He says, how can I go every day to Karbala and visit Imam Hussein alayhi salam? He says, go and say, Sallallahu alayhi ya Abu Abdullah. Say salam to Imam. You visit him. Why don't you visit him every day? So we need to rethink that yes, I can connect myself to the shrines from here. Why? Because that is one of the best opportunities for me to get close to Allah. Just like when you have a good salat and you perform a nice salat, nice prayer and you get close to God, ziyarat is in the same way. Sometimes it's weak, sometimes it's good. But if you perform that good ziyarat with its conditions, then yes, you'll be, next to the arsh of God. For us that want to be at Arba'in, those that want to be at the actual shrines, we're going to end with this. Ziyarat is for us a display of our allegiance. It is a social display of our lifestyle. A person's lifestyle tells you everything about them. The way they dress, the way they talk, whatever, the way they live, the way they eat, that is them. That is their lifestyle. One of the core properties in our lifestyle is wilayat of Ahlul Bayt, is the authority of Ahlul Bayt in our lives. And one of the best ways to express this love, this ahd, this allegiance, is when we all come together and flock around their shrines. 20 million people, coming to the shrine of Imam Hussein alayhi salam is an expression of wilayat, is a display of wilayat. Or millions sometimes in the day of Arafah, during the martyrdoms of the Imams. You see millions in Qadhamiyya, for example, everywhere. Unfortunately, at this time period, not Baqi. Inshallah soon, Baqi, and in Medina, inshallah, you see soon. It will happen eventually. Millions of people going to the shrines. It is a display. It is a social display. That's the third thing that I want you to take away from this, is that ziyarat is the way that we show the world how much we love the Imams, how important they are to us. And the fourth is this, doing ziyarat from here, USA, yes, you can do it. I'm going to give you these two hadith and we'll end, inshallah. One is, you see, the way that a letter that Imam Ali alayhi salam gives to Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. It mentions to him about being careful of your intentions. That if you intend, say, to go to Arba'in, you intend to go to Ziyarat, but you just can't. Not someone that doesn't try. You just can't. I make the intention. I say, I want to go. I love it, but I just can't. It says for us, when Allah, Imam Ali says for Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr, when Allah gave Amir al-Mu'mineen victory, when He gave him victory, let's recite Salawat ala Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad first. Ali Muhammad. أيها الناس إنما يجمع الناس. So Imam Ali alayhi salam says that when وإن استطعت أن تعظم رغبتك في الخير وتحسن في نيتك فافعل فإن الله يؤتي العبد على قدر نيته. When you have that ability to do good and make your intention for good, then do that, because God gives you upon your intention. God gives you upon your intention. In this world, you have to have physical requirements to get something. But in the realm of spirituality, you just need that intention. So Imam Ali says, when you see good, change your intention. Many of us don't know it's that simple. Right now I'm sitting in this masjid, I say, right now I want to go to the shrine of Imam Hussein, but I just can't. I wish I was there. Then you get rewarded. Then it says, إِذَا أَحَبَّ الْخَيْرِ, and this is one of the reasons. When you love khair, when you love good, وَأَهْلَ وَإِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْهُ, if you love khair, if you love good, and you love the people of khair. I love khair, which is the ziyarat of Imam Hussein to reach God. And I love the zawar, and I love those that beat their chest for Imam Hussein, those that cry for Imam Hussein, those that are visiting. I love them. I watch them, all the time. وَإِن لَمْ يَفْعَلْهُ, even if you're not there, even if you're not doing anything, كَانَ إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ كَمَنْ فَعَلَ, he as if he has done that action. This is from the mercy of God. That you're here, you just love that action, you love the ziyarat. You just can't go for whatever reason. But every Arba'in, you wish I was there. I just can't go this year. Everyone is there right now. Allah, through His mercy, and Imam Ali says, specify. So some people, they don't make that intention. That is the problem. They know it's that easy. Going to heaven is that easy. Make that intention right now. I want to go to Karbala. Are you going to Karbala? Yes. But if everything works out, I'll go. And then they say, on the day of judgment, how many Arba'ins he's went to? Automatically. and you saved all that money. You didn't even spend anything. That money is in your pocket too. But obviously, to make that intention. The Battle of Jamal, our great scholar, Ali Jafri, spoke about that. You listen to the Battle of Jamal, he said Ali Jafri. And again, when God gave Amir al-Mu'mineen victory over the Battle of Jamal, one of his comrades said on the occasion, I wish my brother was present here because of the victory of Ali. I wish he was with you so he would be present and he would have seen what success and victory God has given you. Whereupon Imam Ali alayhi salam said, did your brother hold, how did he hold me? Was my friend? He said, yes. He says, in that case, as if he wishes he was here. Rather, in this, it's okay. I think it's done for. I need to get a new one probably now. In that case, rather in this army, thank you. Rather, in this army of ours, even those persons that also were present are still in the loins of men and women, Shortly, time will bring them forth, and faith will get them strong. Yes, he's as if he is with us, as if he is using his sword, for example, for us. The fact that he wishes he was in this battle, he will be rewarded. Just he couldn't come so. So you see that the last thing is, when you look at ziyarat, is your intention. If you truly wish you were somewhere, and you really love a group of people, you'll be gathered with them the day of judgment, you'll be given that action, even if you presently weren't in Jamal, you wish you were there, God will write your name. You weren't, for example, in the Ziyarat Arba'in this year, God will give it to you. So tonight we conclude with these things, that we need to rethink Ziyarat and understand the potential that it can bring me, that Imam Hussein, the Imams alayhi salam, will grab my hand and take me to Arshadullah, will take me towards that destination, because I'm passing by the Sirat, they are the path. And when you go there, believe me, you'll have a feeling that nothing else will compare to that. You'll get closest to God in Tawheed. You'll get closest to monotheism than any other place, any other feeling, any other experience that you ever had. So it's that spiritual journey. It is that allegiance that is renewed. It is the display of our walayat, our lifestyle. We're showing the world what it is. And the last thing is, yes, we can do ziyarat from afar. And that is one of the greatest things, because the imams are timeless and boundless. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. And tonight, in this month of Safar, we remember Lady Ruqayya, the daughter of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. That it says they get, at the beginning of the month of Safar, they have a date for her, that this is the day that this tiny and small companion of Imam Hussein in his caravan, the daughter of Imam Hussein, suffered. When you think of a little girl, what makes you cry more about the children of Imam Hussein maybe than others? It is because a child usually cannot fight back. A 3-year-old girl cannot fight back. I apologize, Imam of the age. I apologize for this. But this is, inshallah, it's not true, but this is what we read in history. This is what is said to us. That when they hit an adult, they hit him on one side. But when a giant, a large person hits a small girl, he smacks her both cheeks at the same time, because his hand is larger than her face. This is a daughter of Imam Hussein. Somebody should be consoling her, telling her that it's okay, you lost her father. Muslim ibn Aqil, when Imam Hussein came to his daughter and wanted to say that your father Muslim is shaheed now, he came and took her on the lap and was very gentle with her and said, now I am your father from now on. Muslim ibn Aqil is, and she understood that her father was martyred. And these are your new family members. That is how you take care. And she says, as if what's happening, as if I'm an orphan. But the same Ahlul Bayt, the interesting thing is Imam Hussein did this to others. But nobody cared for Imam Hussein's daughter. Nobody respected her and cared for her this way. From city to city, you see, it's very hard for Lady Zainab to do this, to lose her brother, to see the head of Imam Hussein on the spear. But how can a 3-year-old in the dungeons of Sham, after being paraded in the marketplace as slaves, being paraded in Sham, asking for her father, how is she going to deal with the head of Imam Hussein? To see that head and to see it and say, this is not the same head that I saw before in Karbala. This head has bruises on it. This head has rocks thrown on it. This head is severed. So the enemies they brought, because she was crying, and Lady Zainab was like a nurse, was taking care of the children. They said, you want your father? This is your father for you, in the dungeons of Shah. And she cried and cried, Ya Abata, man alladhi aytamani ala sighar siddi. Oh Father, who made me an orphan at such a young age? I want you to imagine the dialogue of what a 3 or 4-year-old daughter would say after seeing her father's head. Because usually a father for a daughter is a champion, is a hero. You that have daughters, you know, as father figures, whenever the father comes home, the daughter comes and said, look, father, look what they did to me, expecting the father to look out for them, to care for them. And now Lady Ruqayya, as if she's talking to her father, Father, look at what they did to me. Father, they pulled my earrings from my ear. Oh, Father, I would have given it to them if they asked. Father, they took me from city to city. I had to wash your head. Father, I cannot take this anymore. And slowly, this beautiful daughter of Imam Hussein, her soul leaves her body. It is a remembrance for the madhlumiyat and oppression that Ahlul Bayt faced in Sham. May Allah, inshallah, give us the ziyarat of Lady Ruqayya in Sham, inshallah. May Allah protect all our daughters, inshallah. May Allah make all our daughters lovers of Imam Hussein and Ahlul Bayt, alayhimus salam. May Allah, because of the small hands of Lady Ruqayya, open up these knots that we have in our lives, inshallah. Ya Allah, give us the ziyarat of Imam Hussein, inshallah. Give us shafaat of Imam Hussein in the dunya and akhirah. Ya Allah, bless all of those that have passed away. It is Thursday night. Ya Allah, give us the ability to serve our Imam, to renew our allegiance to Imam Mahdi, and to serve him during the occultation and during the zuhur, inshallah, the advent. So salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad for his ta'jeel faraj.